1. We were at this shopping center buying stuff for our annual camping and fishing summer trip a couple of years before the world went mad. As both of us were already almost done with the needed goodies, and just had to buy some cans, one folding camping chair, and possibly a thermos. I can't recall the exact things to save my life, and it doesn't really matter. We were in our off-road outfits, leather boots, camo clothes, and backpacks. An older gentleman was in the same aisle as us. His cart was left a little away from him, and he didn't want to push it all the way. He was using a walking cane. He then approached us and asked where the croissants are. We had already passed the food area, and we also knew that in order for him to get there, he would have to limp over to his cart and then all the way back to us, and to the other aisle. My friend asked him if that was his cart. The gentleman nodded and pointed at it. My friend then said, "Stay here, I'll get it for you," and quickly went and got it. The old man said thanks and went on with his shopping. Enter the woman. As my friend and I returned to our browsing, we saw what can easily be described as the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in my life. Just a tad younger than us, long straight blonde hair, the bluest and whitest eyes that ever existed on a human, tall, slim, extremely well dressed, classy black heels, the kind of woman you'd only think exists after a few weeks of extensive Photoshop effort. Apparently she had seen my friend run to get the gentleman's cart, because she threw the bluest glance towards him, raised her hand and, I kid you not, snapped her fingers and pointed towards her own cart. We looked at each other, and my friend actually looked at himself, his camo clothes and leather boots, and looked back at me with a "dude, what?" look on his face, while I was mouthing a silent "wow" back at him. We did nothing. She then took a longer look at us, raised a perfectly done eyebrow, and with a voice like a steel fist in a velvet glove, "Well?" My friend, always the witty one, said, "I actually am well, thanks." "Aren't you going to get my cart to the register?" she asked, her eyes never leaving his face, obviously making him uncomfortable. "Why?" he said, unsure how to react. "Isn't that your job?" Years of reading stories on Reddit and 500+ videos on Dark Fluff's YouTube channel came crashing in. She thought we worked there. We often exchanged links and watched and read stories together, so we knew. We also knew that the only way to shut down a situation like this is to out-Karen the Karen. From this point on, I was just an observer. "I'm sorry, miss, I don't work here." "What do you mean, I don't work here?" "But I don't work here." "I don't work here." She puffed, turned around on her heels, and started walking away so fast, it looked like those 1000% sped-up jump scare gifs. She got like 50 feet away, then she stopped and walked back to us. I thought to myself, "Holy hairy jumping shitballs, here we go again." She said to him in a stern voice that demanded attention, "Listen." I braced for impact. She took a breath and said, "I just wanted to apologize." My brain gears screamed, begging for some WD-40 like, "Karen apologizes? What?" I can see my friend is as baffled as a giraffe at a typewriter. "There's no need. I'm sorry. Really, miss, it's not I am sorry, but I am sorry." I couldn't take it anymore. I burst out laughing. I haven't laughed like that since I can't remember. I fell to my knees. I got tears in my eyes, boogers coming out, the whole shebang. It was the funniest thing ever. Seeing my friend's mouth open and close several times only made it even harder. I then saw that she can hardly contain her own laughter. Finally, the absurdity of the situation hit my friend as well, and he roared his way down to the floor next to me, laughing his butt off. Turned out she wasn't a Karen at all. She just honestly thought we worked in the outdoor aisle in our outdoor clothes, and was trying to apologize after the first time he told her that wasn't the case. But he did not let her finish a sentence in his effort to out-Karen the Karen. What happened after that, you asked? They're expecting their second child this autumn. 2. This happened a few years ago when I was trying to get back into reading. High school and college kind of destroyed my love for the hobby by forcing me to read the classics. Some of them were good, a lot of them were outdated and boring. And as a person with ADHD, forcing me to read a 500-page book that I hated was agonizing. But I've been an avid player of Dungeons & Dragons for a while, so I decided to try and rekindle the hobby by buying some fantasy books. I did some research before I went out to the store and had a short list of what I wanted to buy. Off to Barnes & Noble I went. Barnes & Noble, as I've learned, tends to lump sci-fi and fantasy together in the same section. But given I knew exactly what I was looking for, it didn't bother me much. I entered the aisle and already there was a frustrated-looking Karen with 2 books in her hands, looking between them, not reading them, just staring perplexed at the covers. From a quick glance, she seemed to be about in her 70s, with short grey hair, though the scowling pout on her face made her look like a petulant child. I must have seemed like I knew what I was doing. After all, I had come in already knowing what I wanted. It took about 30 seconds for me to quickly pick out the 3 books I wanted to try, but obviously that was not quick enough to avoid being flagged down. "Excuse me, young man," the Karen called after me, right before I was about to step out of the aisle, so close to avoiding this interaction. I work in customer service though, so reflectively I turned on the smile. "Yes, ma'am?" "Can a woman get some help over here?" There was a slight pause, and I'm about to tell her that I'll send an employee right over, but she continues talking. "I need some help picking out a gift for my grandson." I deflate a little bit, as I don't much like interacting with strangers, but this woman hasn't done anything rude yet, so I decide to try and be nice. "Well, what kind of book is he looking for?" "My grandson likes fantasy," she says. I take a look at the books in her hands, both of which are very clearly not fantasy, as they both have spaceships on the front. For now, I keep the condescending tone out of my voice. "I'm sorry, but both of those are sci-fi books." "Well, how was I possibly supposed to know that?" "Well, anything with a spaceship, or any kind of technology on the cover, is a dead giveaway for starters." "My grandson says that sci-fi is stupid. I won't risk giving him some garbage story. You need to give me a fantasy book for my grandson." "Look, ma'am, I don't work here. If you want a recommendation, I can—" "Oh, that's bullshit. You've been helping me already, and now you're just trying to be lazy." I'm losing my patience. I deal with these types of people at my place of work, and I refuse to be nice to them outside of work. "Well, here's an idea for you. How about you read the back of the book? You know, the little section that says what the book is about, instead of just staring at the covers." "How dare you talk back to me? It's not my job to know what the books are about. It's yours." "Oh yeah, it must be such a strain to read 5 sentences. You definitely need to have people do that for you. Or hell, why not just try Google popular fantasy books? You have a phone, don't you?" At this point, Karen is red in the face. "I'm not going to spend my time on reading this nothing genre. I only waste my time on books of substance. I just want a gift for my grandson." Like I said, Google fantasy books and pick a random title if you're so averse to reading. "What does averse mean? Use words that people can understand." I look at her with a raised eyebrow for a moment or two, and then just turn around. "Bye, Karen." She grabs my arm, and at this point I'm very careful. I am a 6'5" man, and this is a tiny old woman. If I react to her grabbing me, even reflexively, it could be very bad. "You're not going anywhere. Where's your manager?" I begin to say, but I stop as I have an idea. With as tall as I am, I can easily see over the aisles and find the corner of the store that is the furthest away from the cash registers. Hiding my smirk, I say, "Oh, he's over in the biography section. It's over there." I point with my free arm to the back corner of the store. Karen tugs at my arm and says, "You're coming with me." But given my height and weight, I just stay firmly planted and watch this woman try to drag me away. After about a minute, she huffs, face nearly purple with rage now, as she says, "You wait here," and storms off to the back of the store. I do no such thing, rather I go and buy my books at the cash register. Just as the cashier is handing my bag and receipt, I hear, "There he is!" I frown at that and turn to see that she has already found the manager, who is looking confused. "That's the employee who shoved me." Having already received my books and knowing that no one there could do anything to actually stop me, I walked out of the store as the Karen tried to convince the manager that I was just so horrible to her. One of the employees tried to follow me out of the store and said I had to stay to sort this out, to which I replied, "No, I don't." I got in my car and left. not ever knowing how that turned out. I was never contacted by police, nor was I banned from the store, so clearly her claim didn't stick. I still visit this store regularly today, and I have never seen this woman again. 3. So I worked at a Panda Express my senior year, and didn't turn 18 until a few months after graduating high school. But my parents allowed me more freedom than most in my circumstance. However, I have a lot of fun stories from this time frame, but this was my absolute favorite. There was a Target next to where I worked, and I often stopped by to pick up snacks or sodas before work. Because my work shirt was red, I often got mistaken for a Target employee. But nothing like this. One particular summer day, I went to Target while on my break to buy a new water bottle, as I had accidentally broken mine during my shift and wanted to get it replaced. Corporate was really stingy and deducted money from our checks if we used the cups at work. And it was hot outside, so it was better to get a cheap replacement and a snack while on break. While I was wandering the store with plenty of time to spare, I noticed someone was following me. At first, I thought it was coincidence, but after the 5th detour aisle, I realized she was following me. Being only 17, I was actually a bit nervous and finally mustered up the courage to face her. "Can I help you with something?" "It's about time. I've been trying to get your attention for forever now." I often wore headphones as I had severe social anxiety and didn't like being in public areas that were crowded like this. "Well, can I help you, or—" "Is that how you treat your customers? Talk about poor customer service." I was genuinely confused until I realized that she, like so many other people before her, had confused me for a Target worker, despite the fact that I had a giant panda on the back of my shirt, along with the company name. These types of encounters were normally pretty easy. This lady wasn't having it. "Ma'am, I don't work here." "Don't go lying to me like that! How dumb do you think I am?" At this point, we had attracted the attention of a few employees who called for their supervisor. As I tried to reason with this lady, the supervisor showed up and took over the conversation. "Is there a problem here?" "This employee is walking around and ignoring customers. She was extremely rude to me, and I want her fired." The supervisor looks at me and sees the Panda Express logo on my shirt. "Ma'am, she doesn't work here." "Are you calling me stupid?" At this point, she started towards me and I backed away, trying to hide behind the supervisor while struggling to understand what her problem was. She reached around the supervisor and grabbed a fistful of my shirt before either of us were able to react. She tugged so hard on my shirt that it almost slipped over my head, and I started crying at this point. "See, she's wearing a red shirt, so she must be an employee here. I want her fired." "Let go of me, please." Thankfully, one of my mom's friends happened to be shopping that day with her kids and saw this woman holding me by the shirt. She immediately walked up to the woman with her kids, one of whom was my age, in tow, and proceeded to grab the woman by the arm. "What on earth do you think you're doing? Get your hands off that child now." Karen pauses for a moment and looks from me to the woman and back again. "She's not a child, she's a young adult." "I'm 17, lady, and for the last time, I don't work here." At this point, you could hear a pin drop from across the room, and I thought that Karen was just going to let go and leave me alone. However, she huffed and looked away, commenting on how being 17 practically made me an adult and was no excuse to act so rudely. My mother's friend, the employees, and the supervisor had enough by this point, and were already calling the police while my friend, who had seen me bullied all through high school, attempted to calm me down. My mother's friend wanted to know where my mom was, to which I replied that she was likely at home since I'd been working. Then I explained that I had come to buy a new water bottle after breaking mine. My mother's friend actually paid for my water bottle and told me to go back to work so that I didn't get into trouble. But she also warned me that the police might be coming by to talk to me. I didn't think anything of this and did exactly as she said, knowing that I was never going to hear the end of it from my mom when I got home that night. As my mother's friend warned, the police showed up at work later that day and asked a few questions, and my boss didn't seem to mind as I explained what happened as soon as I got back. I never heard what happened to Karen, but my mom told me not to let an adult grab me like that again, as they could be arrested for assaulting a minor. 4. Okay, this was my first time in the USA, my first contact with a Karen, and my first contact with this I don't work here lady stuff. I'm a 30-year-old guy traveling with my family to Miami, shopping and stuff. There was a nice mall in front of our hotel, which is a very famous shopping mall with a marine mammal on its name. Let's call it whale shopping. The shopping mall is big and very exciting. It was pretty fun to see the different people at the same place from all over the world. I went to a clothes store and bought something for me. Suddenly a female customer, let's call her Karen, approached me. "Excuse me, do you have it in a larger size?" At first I thought something like, you know what, I want to help this lady. I looked around and found the same shirt which appeared to be a larger size. Found this one. Take a look. She took it from me and then gave me it back. "Okay, I'll buy it." "Okay." And I gave her it back. When she stared back at me, I realized what was going on. "Oh, I don't work here, I'm sorry." She took her glasses off. "Okay, can you call the manager, please?" Again, I know I probably made the wrong decision, but it was my first time traveling out of my country. I really thought that the best thing to do was to try and help, than to leave. So I went to a guy at the register and told him what was going on. That lady thought I worked here. Now she wants to talk with the manager. "I just tried to help, I'm sorry." The guy gave me a smile, trying not to laugh, and he said, "Wild Karens, huh?" I got the Pokemon reference from there, but at the time I thought she was a well-known customer named Karen. The guy went upstairs to find the manager. Since I was so trying to help, I made my last and unforgettable or unforgivable mistake of my life. I called her. I approached her and said, "Miss Karen, the guy at the register was—" "How dare you? Who do you think you're talking to?" I got pale. I froze while the entire store was looking. I lifted up my hands the exact way I'd do if I was getting robbed, or if a crazy dog was barking at me. For about 5 minutes, which felt like an hour, she was saying all sorts of things. Slowly, I approached the register as if I was a little deer scared by a wolf or a wild boar. She was following me, of course, step by step. I saw the manager approaching, as my great white horse knight ready to protect me from that dragon. "I demand you fire this lazy employee." Wasn't the word she used, but okay. The manager looked at me, and I slowly dropped my hands down. "Okay, lady, this guy tried to help you from what I was told, but he don't work here." Karen seemed to be satisfied. "You Latinos are crazy, aren't you? If you don't back off and leave this store, I'll call the police, and me and this guy," pointed to me, "are gonna press charges for racism." Karen laughed. Man, I was like, what the fuck just happened? The guy in the register asked me if I was good and explained to me what a Karen is. It took me a long time to realize things like, because of how I look, she didn't think I'd be a customer too, and shit like that. Oh, and the employee realized that I didn't want to leave right away in case I ran into the Karen again, so they started to joke about, "First Karen we'll never forget." There's a Reddit about it here. So, you were a Karen virgin, you just lost your Karen virginity. The girl on the register suggested to call her Whale Mall Karen, and told me about her experiences with Karens. Found a Karen and new friends on the same day. 5. Medium meaty story for you today. Took place probably 10 years ago. Some details are, at best, barely remembered. I was working the photo counter at my place of employ, a pharmacy with a corner store attached. Emphasis on corner. A customer comes up and requests that I take their photo for passport pictures. So I basically let the photo lab come to a screeching halt so I can top priority these photos. We fuss and fumble getting the customer to stand still and not show their teeth, and maybe get their chin anything close to level. Then comes the next painful part, the question. "And how many sets of 2 would you like?" They gave me a blank stare of a person that was asked a very hard math question. I smile and try to get them through the mental blockage. They're sold in attached pairs, like pants. I point to my glasses, and I flip my wrist to now point to my pants. This got them to break their stupor. "Oh yeah, I need 2. Now, having fallen victim to this trap before I double-check. 2 pairs of 2, yes? he confirms. I increase the number of sets. A few moments later, I cut out the 4 small pictures and mount them on a display card. I wave to the waiting customer, and we head to the register. I ring him up, and then, as per procedure, I say the total out loud. He stops dead in his tracks.
"Oh wow, that's more expensive than I thought. I'll just take 1 set,"
he says apologetically. Not a problem. I take 2 of the 4 away and modify the price down on the register. Okay, now it's half the first price. I set the unwanted pictures behind me on the lab counter. He then looks at me.
"What are you gonna do with those?"
he asked. Oh no, I can tell this is going to be trouble. I just didn't know what form the destroyer of my day would take. I will destroy the prints and recycle the paper, I said truthfully.
"Well, if you're just gonna throw them out, I'll take them."
Okay, this game then. I grab the photos and remove the price modification.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why's the price back up?
Because you're taking both sets.
Well, I don't want both, just one.
No problem. I remove the second set and modify the price down again. Once more, the pics are set aside.
Wait, you're just gonna throw those away?
He asks. Internally, I groan. Externally, I just nod. Yes, sir, because you do not want them. And predictably, he says,
"Well, if you're just gonna throw them away."
And he proceeds to make me go through this song and dance loop 3 more times before he got too angry and just took the 2 pairs. And his parting shot?
"This is one hell of a racket you got going here. Make too many pictures and just force people to pay for them."
Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, episode 156. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. If you enjoyed the video, then please do share it around with, well, everybody you know, really. Okay, today is... oh, it's a Sunday today. That snuck up on us, didn't it? Sunday the 1st of May. Right, let's see. Okay, let's see. Hellfreezer's question of the day. We find ourselves, at least here in the UK, in Scotland, on this dreary, dreary 1st of May. Allegedly, this is springtime. Alright, random question. Inspired by a GIF somebody posted in my Discord. Jukebox musicals, right? And to explain, if you've never heard of a jukebox musical before, basically it's a musical that they don't write the songs as part of the story, they just use a bunch of popular songs. Moulin Rouge is a good example of that, and then you've got your various ones that are themed for a particular artist. Do you like them, or would you rather just listen to the album? Okay. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.